Hi, and we're live. Welcome to our final reflection. We're down to day one. And today we have a very special person. All my guests were special people, but today tops it all because representing today our division is my Public Relations Officer for Division F, none other than Toastmaster Corinne Lafont. And Corinne is well known in all the circles. She does fantastic work. But today she's going to share with us her reflection on 2020. What are the challenges, if there were any? What are the takeaways? And what she would like to take into 2021. So I want to welcome to the spotlight Toastmaster Corinne Lafont.
Thank you so much, Sandra, Division Director for Division F. Yes, Trinidad and Tobago. So here I am on the day before Christmas Eve. And I have the honor of doing the day before. What's the message that I can give you? There is one thing that moved me in 2020. Now, some people have been listening to the past 12 days, and most people have made reference to the pandemic, and I will too, but I won't focus on it. I'm going to focus on something that may not even occur to you at this time. Some of you who know me know that I lived in Jamaica. I lived in Jamaica for 21 years. I came back home to Trinidad in 2015. And I was back and forth between home here in Trinidad and Jamaica between 2015 and 2017. In going back to take up a consultancy contract in Jamaica in 2016, I think it was, I had to get a place to stay and made contact with some friends in my church community. And I was put on to this lovely woman who I know from in my church. Her name was Mrs. King. Now, if you know this lady, oh my God. Now, she is all brand. Now, when you hear my name, it's associated with PR, communications, and branding. But when you meet this woman, she's all brand. She's known for her hats, her big wide hats. She comes to church always with her hats, well dressed. I mean, she was like an ambassador, somebody who cultured. I mean, you see her, you think she's moving with the movers and shakers. She was involved in church, very much involved. I knew her children and grandchildren. And when she took me into her home, and I went to her home, she lived high up in the hills, called Red Hills in Jamaica. And I stayed with her and I saw her home. She drove a BMW. I think she was one of the first persons to drive a BMW. And I saw how beautiful her home was. Well taken care of, spotless. She traveled the world in her time. She shared stories with me. I stayed with her for I think about 1 or 2 nights. And that was the closest I got to her. I had morning tea with her. We spoke at nights. I had a wonderful time with her, and I got to know her more than just seeing her as somebody in the pew in church or giving to the sick, the shut-in, or even giving of the communion on a Sunday. I saw more than that. So I got to know her, love her, because this is a woman who took me into her home when I was looking for a place to stay when I arrived again in Jamaica. Let's fast forward to 2020. I heard that she passed somewhere in the middle of this year. I can't remember which month. And I'm not one for funerals, but you know, with the pandemic, funerals took on a different approach. So they had it online. And of course, everybody knows I'm back home here in Trinidad. So they invited me to the YouTube channel to view. It was heart-wrenching for me because I knew this woman, and to know that she passed. And when I saw the pictures, the casket, the people in the church, I saw familiar faces. My heart started to swell up. But more than that, that moved me, which is where my message is coming from, is when I saw they took the urn, her ashes. She was cremated and her ashes was put into a sort of chamber in the church. And I couldn't for the life of me, and still to this day, I am still trying to come to terms with knowing a physical human being that I shared a home with, meals with, time with, and now she's ashes in a container. I couldn't, my mind couldn't, and I still can't come to terms that this we know, we touch as a physical body, turns to ashes, from dust to dust. It's what it says in the Bible. If I'm wrong, correct me. And I'm saying, look at that. Look at what life brings us to. So when we focus on our physical, all the materialistic things, and I'm not saying not to take care of the body that you have. This is the vehicle that you came into this world with, that God gave you. This is yours. Cherish it. Take care of it, because you don't know how long you have it for. But to turn to ashes, to become a physical being and become ashes, says to me how fragile life is. And the pandemic also showed that, how fragile life is, because COVID has no respect for your status, your age, your money, what you own, who you know, the job you have, where you live, the color of your skin, the length of your hair. It has no respect. And so life and death has no respect either. Out of pandemic, in pandemic, it doesn't matter what is happening. This is for a time. And we go back to ashes, how fragile life is. So what really matters? What really matters in this world? What really matters? Running down everything else? Or actually doing what is right in this world? Living what is right? When Mrs. King took me in her home, she didn't have to. She didn't charge me a cent. She offered me meals. She offered me love, support. And when I came back in 2017, we lost contact, but I maintained contact with her children, and only to see this woman become ashes in front of my eyes at her funeral. I couldn't, it was difficult. I'm telling you, honestly, I felt something swell up inside of me and wanted to burst. Tears, I was bawling. What does life really mean? And here it is. We are actually celebrating the life of Jesus. So while I'm talking of death in one way, we are at a time celebrating the birth, the coming of our Savior. But yet, even in that, he knew his purpose on this earth had to be served. That he knew he had to die for our sins. What is your purpose? What is your debt? And I'm not wishing debt on anybody. When I say debt, I mean debt of self, the ego, all the materialistic things that you're running after, as opposed to understanding what your purpose is. And if you don't, you should be seeking out that journey and aligning yourself with the man himself who put you on this earth to carry out the purpose. What's your purpose? Mrs. King had her purpose. I didn't know that I would have ended up from sitting next to her in church, living in her home, her taking care of me and giving me bed and breakfast. I never knew. We don't know where our lives will cross with another human being. But when it does cross, how is it done? What is the influence you have with that other person that you're crossing paths with? What do you leave with them when they cross your path or you cross their path? What are they leaving with you? What's the impression? What are you leaving on them? I will never forget that. And I think about the fragility of life. What is our purpose? How do I want to impact people in this world? When I leave and I turn to ashes, because we all do, whether we are cremated or whether we're buried in the earth, you become ashes, you go back to earth. Between now and then, how do you want to live? How do you want to live? We are going into 2021, fast too. We don't have a choice. Time has no respect for anyone. How do you want to live? And I'm thankful for that experience of seeing a human being turn into ashes, because it reminds me constantly of who I am, whose I am, and to keep me grounded. That whenever my ego and myself get beyond my purpose, I need to remind myself to be humble, to get back grounded and know why I am here. I don't know if this message resonates with anyone at this point in time or going forward into 2021. But of all the things that happened to me in 2020, that is the one thing that resonated with me and will remain with me. Be humble. Know your purpose. Align yourself with the master. If you don't know him, get to know him. Now is a time to get to know him. Know that what you are in, your vehicle, this mode of transportation you're in, is for a time. And the time that you're in it and walking on this earth, how do you want to live it? And what is the influence, the impact, the impression that you wish to leave on others when you cross another's path? Thank you so much, Sandra Theodore, for giving me the opportunity. I know I may have gone over time, but thank you for giving me the opportunity to share that lesson or lessons from 2020 and for being the messenger on Christmas Eve. I feel like one of the shepherd men. I feel like one of the shepherd men. I'm dressed like a shepherd man too. I feel like one of the shepherd men.
Yes. Be humble, know your purpose, align yourself with the man. You know, I love that. I love that. And the fact that this woman, you know, really made a mark on your life. And we do that every day. We cross paths with people and we don't understand sometimes what they do for us or what we do for them. It's all about, you know, being humble. And you talked about, you know, going, sometimes your ego would catch up with you and get beyond you. But a lot of us don't recognize that. You know, it's a good thing that people, most people, and that you could recognize and pull back and see, what is my purpose? What is my purpose on this life? For a long time, I was wondering what my purpose was until I aligned myself, as you said, with that man. And he told me what my purpose was. You understand? And, you know, for sometimes people only understand how much of an impact somebody has on them after they've gone, you know. But what we want to take, I'm getting that what we want to take into 2021 is to really align ourselves with the man, know the impact that we will have on others and what others will have on us. So I really, really thank you for that. I thank you for that, TM Corinne. It was really soul searching. It took me way back. I remembered my brother when he died and didn't realize how close we were, you know, before he died, and the amount of work that he did when people kept coming and speaking of him. I said, my brother is famous,
Yeah.
you know? So thanks for that sharing. Thank you so much. So, folks, powerful for us. This was our final reflection, and the fact that it took that turn in terms of, you know, us looking at ourselves and trying to figure out what our purpose. So we're ending off our 12 days of reflections with that. What is your purpose? So going into 2020, let's start looking at ourselves and thinking, what is our purpose? But we're not done, you know. We're not done. We have loads of stuff coming up in line for you all. So keep liking and sharing. Keep going back to our Facebook page and our YouTube, and you can look back at all the things that we have done, but keep looking, and we have lots in store for you. So I just want to say thank you for joining us this evening, and we will be back soon. Bye.